Joining me now is Portfolio Wealth Advisors President and Chief Investment Officer Lee Munson. Lee, great to see you. Thank you so much for being here. Look at this market in 2025, 20% higher in some of these averages. Look to next year for us. How are you thinking about allocating capital? And do you believe valuations are stretched and the AI spending should be questioned, or are you all in on this?
I'm a little bit on the fence. In terms of everything outside of AI, what I think people don't realize is that we've got, 13, 14% growth on things like small caps or small cap value. We have, 12% growth on large cap value, and that doesn't include any AI names. So when we're going into next year, we're seeing a broadening out of where the earnings are happening. A lot of companies this year that we thought were going to be impacted by tariffs, or what the street calls the tariff losers, those have some of the best earnings acceleration versus earlier this year. So if I want to commit capital, I still want to be in that AI name. But let's be honest, at over a 33 multiple on the NASDAQ, just as a poster child for that exposure, these AI names have to deliver and they have to beat expectations all next year. So I think you're better off if you want to pack up and be all in on AI. Wait for that moment where maybe NVIDIA has a slow earnings, or maybe there's more investor concern about the spending on these data centers. I think that's going to be an issue next year. I think that sometime between now and the end of next year, there's going to be a moment of reckoning. And if that multiple can come down on some of those AI names, then I'm all in. For now, I'm staying diversified. I really love the value area because they're the beneficiaries of the tax cuts. They're the beneficiaries of that AI productivity and Fed cuts. Those things are coming.
Lee, let me get your take on this $8 trillion of money in money market funds right now. You're talking about $8 trillion. This is the highest we've seen in a long time of money sitting in money market accounts. And of course, as you know, the thinking is that as rates come down and rates in money market accounts also go down, people will want to move that money out of money market accounts, and ultimately it will find a home in stocks. Do you buy into that? Once you see some of that money market money come into stocks, does that provide a floor or a boost to the equity market?
I've been hearing about this like $8 trillion in money markets for a while. And the reason it hasn't happened is people are still getting 3.5%, 4%. Absolutely. When people start looking and start seeing that their banks are only paying them 2%, that money markets are starting to crack that
right
under 3%, you're going to see money flow back in, and you're going to see it probably flow back into broad-based index, not necessarily AI names. That's why I'm much more confident with that earnings backdrop going into next year. And $8 trillion in cash. All we need to see is rates come down another 1%. You've got that floor. And if the market starts to slow because of growth concerns, rates are going to get cut and that money's going to flow.
Yeah, well, President Trump, meanwhile, signed an executive order this week reclassifying cannabis as a Schedule III drug or a less dangerous drug, marking the biggest federal shift in marijuana policy in decades. This move eases tax and banking and research restrictions on these companies and includes a new Medicare pilot program to pay for cannabis-related products. Those stocks plunged yesterday on concerns that there's new competition coming in from Big Pharma. What are your thoughts on this? Look at some of these moves in these cannabis companies. Round Hill Cannabis down 26%, Aurora down 3.5%, and these are companies that I guess are in the business of cannabis right now.
I think all those companies, their value is basically zero. I live in New Mexico.
Oh, wow.
You live in New York. There's dispensaries everywhere.
Yeah, that's true.
This is just a plant that you grow. It's not going to increase access. This is a huge thing for medical research. So these companies, what do they have to do with medical research? They're trying to grow something as if it's not just a basic commodity. What people don't realize who aren't, let's say, knowing people are in that whole culture, the price of an ounce of decent marijuana, loose leaf, is lower today than the nominal price, not adjusted for inflation, than it was in the 90s. This is not an industry I want to be in, but medical research is so important, so huge. We want to know about this plant. We want to know how this actually can be of use, not just a recreational drug like alcohol. So I think those companies should be very afraid because Big Pharma now, the gloves are off. They can go in here and they study it. I think it's going to be a huge boom to biotech in that industry. Biotech has just been left for dead.
Wow.
This is going to be a shot in the arm for that.
Really interesting. Meanwhile, interest rates this morning look like this as President Trump said that he's weighing his pick for the next Fed chair. Scott Bessent, the Treasury Secretary, told me we're going to find out who it is in early January. The president said he's spoken to 3 or 4 candidates. He signaled he wants a more aggressive approach to rate cuts. As you know, he's aiming to bring down mortgage costs. He's praising Fed Governor Christopher Waller and Mickey Bowman without confirming any finalists. We still believe Kevin Warsh and Kevin Hassett are the finalists. Watch this.
How many people are you interviewing for the Fed chairman, and what did you think of Chris Waller?
I think he's great, and he's a fantastic man. I met him yesterday. Again.
So how many people are you looking at?
We're talking to 3 or 4. I think every one of them would be a good choice, honestly. We'll be making a decision pretty quick.
Is Michelle Bowman on that list, too?
She's fantastic. She's a fantastic person.
When do you expect to make your announcement about the new Fed chair, sir? Before the end of the year?
Over the next couple of weeks. I mean, I don't know before the end of the year, but pretty soon.
Lee, what do you make of it? Who would you like to see in the chairman's seat, and do you think it will be a market mover?
I think it will be a market mover. I mean, if you look at Waller and Bowman, I like those 2 picks. You know, Waller's, he's kind of a wonk with a vote. He's been very clear. I saw some interviews with him where he's talking about the Fed independence. He's data driven. I think Bowman, that would be nice. Pro-competition, pro-regional banks. I mean, with Bowman, what you really have is somebody who's going to try to undo some of the gutting of those banks, those regional community banks that are the lifeblood of the real economy in America, not just AI data centers, and try to restore that from private credit, which has just been this huge dominator since 2008. So I think that from a Wall Streeter's perspective, I'm much more calm than 6 months ago because we're still looking at people who respect the independence of the Fed. Market goes up on that news.
All right, Lee, we will keep watching all of that. Great to catch up, Lee. Thanks so much for being here.
Thank you.
All right, Merry Christmas on this, the final Friday before the big holiday. Lee Munson joining us. Stay with us. We'll be right back.